Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. This section is basically going to be like a part two, if you like, to how to get that demo right. And specifically, think of this maybe as an addendum to the first one. So everything's relevant in that first one still. All the things I've talked about there still will be useful to you. But if you're just looking to get that recording contract and or a publishing contract, you need to maybe think about a few additional elements that might be very relevant to you. So I'm going to suggest some to you. Please take as much notice of them as you like, but I'm going to suggest that could be quite important. Mainly for this reason is that I've been quite fortunate in my time. I have worked with several artists, bands, singers, whatever, who've actually done demos, and from those demos have secured recording contracts. Quite handy the studio, and for me, I guess, because not all, a lot of the times, a lot of the times, people back to me and say, "Hey, we got to deal with that demo. Brilliant, well done, guys, well done. Oh, could you help us with that when we get to our album? Could you be involved with that somehow?" Which is great for me, of course. So here's some very obvious things, not obvious, I'm sorry, but there's some things that you really should perhaps consider and take into account. If you think about them and think, well, there's no worth in that, there's no merit in any of that stuff, then fine, but at least you've thought about it and you're as prepared as you can be. So I'm going to start running through those now. I'll probably do that thing of sticking something down the right hand side, so I might move over to the left a bit more, or my left, which is the, anyway, so here we go. Number one, first thing, do your songs have an obvious pulse to them? Okay, so what is the pulse? If you could, like, I'll try and verbalise to you very poorly, please forgive me for doing this, but this is pretty much what I'm talking about. What is your pulse? Is it boo, 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 boo? Is that your pulse, or is your pulse boo, 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 boo? What is it? And if you can't verbalise it to like that to somebody else, you haven't got your pulse right. Without a pulse, you're going to struggle. And whatever your pulse is, make sure you give it to the record company with your demo very, very early on, so they get it with no uncertain terms. Oh, I like the pulse of this band, because that's how these guys work. It's all like factors and elements to them. There's like a process to it. There's like a format to it. You've got boxes to tick, more or less. So when these guys to go and have like an A&R meeting, and then they discuss, oh, well, what bands have you got, Stevie? Oh, I've got this band, so and so. Have they got? Yeah, well, they're good at the pulse. They've got a great pulse. They've got a great singer, and they'll go through and tick all the boxes. And they've got a certain number of boxes. Different labels will have different things. I mean, these meetings are A&R meetings, usually on a Friday, but it varies from time to time. But these people do think and talk about it, and you have boxes that you need to tick. If you can tick all their boxes, you're in the running. You're in the running to get a deal with these guys. So bear that in mind. So do your songs have an obvious pulse? That's important. I've talked about this in the first one as well, but I'm just going to repeat it now because it's quite important. Do your songs get to the chorus fairly quickly? So they haven't got to wait for like two minutes, 1 minute 45 or even longer before your chorus comes in, because you've got a fabulous chorus. And like I said in the other post, it doesn't matter how good, even if your chorus is the best chorus ever written, if it's a couple of minutes into the track, it's very likely and possible, because it is, isn't it? People who are listening to it won't even get that far on the tape, because there might be something about it that doesn't appear. Oh, I don't like that. Oh no, I don't really like. Whatever. It doesn't matter why. And your tape or your recording, your CD will be out of the player, and they've discarded you as a potential signing. They haven't even heard your chorus yet, which is more for them, eh? Well, you might think that, but I was going to suggest you get your chorus in early if you can. There are ways to go around that, and help you do that, which I've kind of touched on in the earlier post. Okay, another thing which you want to consider is from the band's perspective. Let's say that, just try and picture this. You've got an A&R meeting, and there's 3 bands up for discussion that have ticked all their boxes, and they've sort of whittled all the ones out, thrown out all the stuff, the chaff, if you like, that they don't want to consider, and they're down now to 3 bands. Okay, what they're going to discuss at that point is what is the twist with this particular band 1, band 2, or artist 1, artist 2, artist 3, whether they're bands, singers, whatever they are, doesn't matter, which could include you. Artist 1, let's call them artist. Artist 1, artist 2, artist 3. They're going to discuss what's the twist with artist 1 then. Oh, well, they've got it, and then they're going to start talking about what it is about that your act or your artistic thing that you do, that's the twist that's going to get you noticed out there in the marketplace. Oh, well, they've got this, they're female, there might be lots of reasons. I'm not even going to try and suggest any to you, although perhaps I should have done, but I don't know, you might be foreign, or you might have a particular kind of physical thing that's unique to you. It might be how you look. You might be pretty fantastic look, and you might have great hair or something like that. But that's part of the twist that they're going to get you noticed in the marketplace. If you don't have one of those, and if you can't define what your twist is, you may be able to thinking, well, perhaps we need to get a twist. So apart from doing the demo, perhaps we need to understand, what's our kind of unique selling point. Sorry, we live in a commercial world, don't we? But that's what it is. It's more or less a unique selling point. What's yours? Okay, so moving on from that slightly, you need to also understand, I think, and because the record company might say, oh, I really like your stuff, mate, but who are we going to sell it to? You need to be answer that question. Well, we've got a niche. There's a niche of people that, what do you mean by a niche? Well, just a small group of type of people who like that type of music. They're our potential clients, and people that are going to hopefully go into HMV record store and cough up their 10 quids, put them over the counter and buy our CD. So, there is a quick way. I used to do this with students in the college that I used to teach at until recently, because I basically had enough of it, so I just stopped. But I used to suggest to them, I don't know, I'd have like 20 students in a group, and I asked them all to write down from like the current like top 40, if you like, although that's not quite as common nowadays as it used to be, like the BBC radio top 40. At least it doesn't seem that way to me. I might be wrong there, but and I asked them all to write down their 3 favourite songs from the current songs that are in, bubbling around in the market, or even on the box or whatever, in terms of the box, I mean the Sky channel, the box, where they have like different tracks, whether you call them up to date, I don't know. But what are their 3 favourite songs? Now, once the students had all done that, we'd go through them. So I'd have, I don't know, say 20 students, like I say, they'd all choose different ones, all of them. So if you'd wrote down all the choices that these 20 different students had made, well, how many different songs do you think might come out of that would be picked by them? Well, there's 20 students, they write down 3 songs each, so how many is that? Did they all write down the same one? So have you got just 3 songs, all the 20 students wrote down the same 3 songs? No, of course they didn't. I can't remember what the number was, but I think it was getting on to like 15, 16, 17 different songs. Some of them did choose the same ones. Somebody might choose that song A, if you like, song B, but they had a different third one, kind of thing. So that's what I'm talking about with a niche. And record companies aren't stupid. They realise that, okay, well, you're going to appeal to that particular group of people. Now, here's the way that you can actually use that to your advantage. I'm going to suggest this to you now, especially for those, this is really only applies to those of you that are out gigging, but maybe not. Maybe if you're sort of rehearsing to get ready to go out to gigs and stuff, you still built up a following, or you were in a band before and you've not carried that following forward. What do you mean following? Well, people that come to our gigs and watch us, they're our fans, kind of thing, Are they? Well, who are they? Well, just people. No, I don't mean that. I mean, who are they? What's their names? Where do they live? And what's their email addresses? Have you got them all written down? Have you got a database of all those? Because if you haven't, you need to start doing that. Here's why. Because if you can go to a record company and do that thing where they're saying they like you, they think you've got great vocals, they like the band, they think you've got a pulse, they think you've got perhaps a bit of a twist as well to get you out there. They want to talk to you because you're a potential sign-in, right? And you go and speak to those people and just think of it from their point of view. They've got 2 bands to pick from. I don't know whether we should sign them or should we sign them. I don't know. But I'll bring them in and have a chat with them. So they'll do that. They'll go in and you're going to have a chat with them, or they'll come to you, whichever. Okay, and you'll have a chat with them. If you can turn around to that record company and say, well, it's something that we do is that every time we do gigs and people come up, there's one band that I'd worked with that gave a free CD out. You just turn up to a gig and they give you a CD for nothing, provided you gave them their email address. It was something I suggested to them. They ended up with, I think it was 4,500 names and addresses. And when a record company came on the scene, they told them that. So, well, we've got 4,500 names and addresses of people that probably buy a CD. If you release a CD for us, there's 4,500 people that already potentially might buy that. We're not saying they will, but it's very likely they will because they've been following us. We've got their names and addresses. They come to our gigs, 4,500. Well, at that sort of point, 4,500 CDs, please have a look into the mathematics of that and the monetary value of 4,500 CDs, like profitability of that, because record companies can pretty much almost certainly guarantee to break even if they can sell that many CDs. So it's much more worthwhile to them to take a chance on you. So just consider that. Make sure you get everyone's name. There's a couple of other notes I've just made here. Actually, I just want to just refer to these. I'm sorry this is not a good presentation, and I apologise, but I'll put something on the screen. Hopefully that will make a bit more sense than my general rabbling. One other thing is that making demos, when it comes to a record company, particularly with a record company, and this has happened to my band that I was in, one of the reasons we got a deal, and it was quite a big record label, a very big record label, but the reason they signed us up was our demo was done, in the sense that they could release, and they did actually, they released it. I'll say it done, and we hadn't actually technically finished it. There was still a couple of like things I wanted to do. We're only a three-piece. We had drums, a singer, and me. I did all the sort of musicy stuff, like all that thing. But they've just released it. Warner Brothers Records it was, and they just released it as it was. I was gobsmacked and so chuffed that they'd actually signed us up. But although a little bit disappointed that they wanted to release it's an easy thing for them. So don't think of it as a demo. If you're going to a record company, give them a master thing, something they can release. Then they've got no reason. The other thing you can say to them then is if they're like, blimey, it's really quite good, isn't it? It's finished, isn't it? We could release it. We could release this. It's finished. You can then turn around to them and say, well, look, guys, look, I don't want to put you under pressure. Thank you very much for seeing us, and we really appreciate the time that such a big record label like you has given a little band like us a chance. But please understand that if you don't want this, that's fine. Thank you for listening and give us help. We'll go down the road because it's finished, isn't it? It's ready. This can be released tomorrow. And if you know that, and they know that, they're under a little bit more pressure then, aren't they? Do they really want to let you go out of their office down the road to the other record label that's down the road, who's a competitor, perhaps even in the same marketplace area? Because they know your record's finished. Your demo's a finished version. Okay, I'm just looking at the time, so I'm going to wrap it on a bit more. Thank you very much for staying with this, and I hope it's some help to you. And if just one thing that I've said to you resonates with you and helps you to perhaps approach and think, oh, that guy said that was good actually, yeah, I think I might think about that, and just have a think about it. And if there's something which happens for you which is slightly different than had it have been were you not to have watched this, then I'll be well happy with that, and well done. Get out there and give it your best stuff. In regards to promotion, think about this. When I'm talking about promotion of your product now, so you've done your demo. Well, I'm going to call it a demo, but don't record it in those terms. Oh, we're making a demo for a record company. There's no such thing. If you're giving stuff to gigs, if you get gigs and venues, fine, they're demos because they're performance demos. This is a demo of what we do live, but not when you're going to a record company, because what you're giving them is in effect what you're hoping they're going to sign you up for, to make records and make CDs and sell to people. Bear in mind, you're going to have to sell these to people that you don't know yet and that don't know you. How are you going to do that? That's the tough one. And I have to say, getting the recording contract, and a lot of times, from my experience, that's all, is the easy bit. Selling 100,000 copies to people that they don't even know you. How are you going to go about doing that? Try and get together a plan for that, because that might help you get the deal. So think about this. There's a record company, okay, and they get a phone call from a band, perhaps very similar to yourselves, maybe. Oh, hello. Yes, so Records. Yeah, hello. We've got a band and we've just made a demo which we'd really like to put around. We're trying to sort of get everybody to hear it. Can we send it through to you, please? Yeah, if you want. Okay. So then give perhaps if you got our address, yeah, we've got your address, yeah. Just mark it for my attention. That'd be fine. Okay, so now you've got we've got a bloke's name there. We're going to send it off to the record company, and hopefully they'll listen to it and might come back to us within a week, whatever, 5 minutes after your phone call, so that's your phone call to that record label. How about this then? 5 minutes after that phone call, his phone rings again. Same bloke, same record company, same guy, same A&R guy, perhaps, whatever. Ding, hello. Here's the conversation. Yes, I'm phoning from. I'm phoning from Hampshire. I'm a local businessman. Okay, I run a business doing this, that, or the other, and I've come across in my travels a fantastic local band who actually don't have a recording contract. They're absolutely brilliant. I went down the scene with the wife and a couple of members of the family. We've been back 3 or 4 times actually because they were just so good, and they're brilliant. So because I had got a bit of money, I'm not loaded, but I've got the money, and I've offered to help them. So basically I've helped them financially because I wanted to invest in them because I thought they were a worthwhile investment. I've invested some money and we've got a fantastic demo. We've just finished it, just come out the studio, and because I'm really convinced and convicted that these guys are going to make it. I'd really like you to have a listen to it. Can you help me, please? What do I do? How do I go about getting it heard by somebody? Bearing in mind, of course, that I've been sort of well attracted into this band because they're brilliant, like I say, and I've put my money where my mouth is. Okay, I'll help you. So I've helped them financially. I'd really like someone to listen to it. How do I go about that? So that's the phone call. And the other guy, the record company, what's he going to say to that? Oh no, mate, no, don't worry about it. Send it in. Just send it in like all the other people do. Or do you think he's going to turn around and say, blimey, I better sorry, I've got to click something off my screen. Which you have to come out now. But there you go. Can you see the difference there? So the record company gets a call from a band saying, "Oh, can we send you a demo?" And he gets a call from a local businessman. Now, the local businessman can be your uncle, can't he? He could be a window cleaner. I mean, a local window cleaner who's your uncle who does window cleaning once a month. Still a local business, isn't it? And he might give you 50 pence towards your recording. So you're not lying, are you? Yeah. you don't mention the fact that you only gave him 50p, and you don't mention the fact that he's the winner. Do you follow what I'm saying there? Try and approach these labels in a different way to make them want to come back to you. I just want a quick look at the time. Yeah, I've got a few more minutes left, and there is something, and the reason I want to go through this is because obviously when I worked in my own studio before, which is like a static studio, and those of you who've listened to some of the posts, thank you so much for doing that, will know that I'm in the process of setting up a mobile sort of Pro Tools digital studio. So I mean, quality wise, I can make you a finished article kind of thing. But when I used to work in my static studio, if you like, working out of a fixed recording studio, used to do a lot of recordings of all kinds, from like top to the bottom kind of thing, or maybe the bottom to the top, whichever way around you want to look at it. The bands always used to say to me, what should we do? How should we go about getting a recording contract, Bob? And I used to just run their story past them. Let me tell you about the Jam Donuts. Okay, so here's the story about the Jam Donuts, all right? There's a decent sized record company. I won't say who it is, but a fictitious, let's call it, I don't know, it's a fictitious record company, okay, and there's an A&R executive there, so you need to find out who that guy is, all right? But so you've got a record